So okay, in this video we will try to light our scene and finally render everything. So move to this viewport rendered mode and this will immediately turn everything black. So don't worry, select this. If you have this light, select it and delete it. We don't need it for the time being. And come over here in this second window, change the shader type to world from object like this, and now we will use an environment texture. We will basically use HDRI, high dynamic range image. These allow us to add realistic lighting to our 3D scene. So go to polyhaven.com. Polyhaven. So over here, assets, HDRIs, and search. So either it should be over here, or you can search suburban soccer park right here, suburban soccer park. Left click it. So make sure the file format is EXR, and for resolution let's go with 2K. You can try 4K or 8K, it's up to you, personal preference. If you think your PC can handle it, then yeah, why not? But I think 2K is more than enough for me. Download it, and when the download is finished, come here and open wherever you have put that file, wherever you have downloaded that file. Search it and just, mine is over here, just add your, which one was it? Yeah, suburban soccer. And now you can see the moment we add it, we get realistic lighting. You can see without it, I can mute any node by pressing M on it. You can see. So without much effort, we have added some light to our scene, and all we need now is to give certain finer details to our scene. So let's select this room in face select mode, come here to this material tab and add a new material and give this glass. So now this should be, okay, sorry, assign it. Now this should be glass. So yeah, it is glass. And while we're at it, add mapping and texture coordinates too by pressing Ctrl T. So yes, we get those two. And now let's add a few lights of our own. So to add a light, we will just press Shift A, and at the bottom we have these lights under light section: point, sun, spot, and area. So let me add a point light. Where is it? Oh no. Let's undo it. First of all, let's move our 3D cursor here. I want to add a light here. So Shift S, cursor to selected, and then add Shift A, light, point light. And let's, for the time being, mute our HDRI like this. And now further, make sure this light is into its own collection, lights collection. We'll add a bunch of these, so it's better to organize things. So G, oh sorry, select this, G, yeah, something like this. So this is what we are getting, a light source that is like this, and yeah, it's basically spreading light 360 degree. And if we come over here under this bulb tab, you can see we have certain other options, like we can change the light itself from point to sun, spot, or area. Area light would be like this, a square. Spotlight would be, let me increase its brightness. So spotlight would be like this, like a spot, and sun would be sun. So if I press double R, you can see sunlight is something like this. So let's switch it back to point and right click, reset. In front view, move it down, G, Z. If you want to give it separate color, you can do that from this menu. power option we checked. We can increase the intensity of our light from this menu. Exposure will increase the exposure. You can see it makes it even more brighter than it should be. So let's reset it, and normalize will make things again from 0 to 1. So let's leave it at default. Then we have this radius tab. This will allow us to make this fall off that we are getting. This is a very harsh fall off of this light. You can see it's a very harsh light. It's just basically edges, right? So we can change this by coming over here and increasing the radius. If we increase the radius, you can see now it's giving us a very soft fall off. Like the more I increase this, the softer it will get. So let's put it to somewhere like this. Next we have shadows. If we want to have shadows, so yeah, we want to, otherwise it wouldn't look good. Then let's copy this, Shift E, and place one over here, and Shift E, place one over here, because I want some light to be on this and some on this. And now next I just want two separate lights like we have over here, something like this. So let's select this in front view, select this and Shift S, cursor to select it, and now Shift A, add another light, point light, GC, yeah, something like, I think something like this should be fine. And let's give it a color somewhat similar, like orangish and yellowish, something like that. This is the hex code FFB983. It could change, but for the time being it is this. So let's make it 25 and let's increase the radius to something big, something that gives us a soft shadow. GZ, oh G, yes, GZ, and let's copy it, Shift E, G and Y, and place it over to the other side. And let's see, let's see what we have. Now one issue that I have is this light is also bleeding over here, and I don't want to do that. So there is a light linking process in Blender that was recently introduced, where we can select or tell Blender which places we want lit and which places we wish to exclude. So I want this room, these walls, to be excluded from this light's fall off. So let's do that quickly. So first select our room. We can also do this from here. There's this under shading tab, light linking, but I prefer this one. Press select this, make sure that a room is selected, and then select this light and press Ctrl S. That will give us our link data transfer menu. So now if we come at the very bottom, you can see link receiver to emitter. It's either include or exclude. We wish to exclude them. So the moment I do that, this light won't cast its emission to these walls. So yeah, then select this, same drill, select this and Control L, link receiver to emitter, exclude, same way. And what happened here? Oh, okay, I thought it was not showing. It is showing. I think we need to increase these ones. Let's increase their intensity, because these are barely visible when we enable our HDRI, so why not? And let's change the color while we are at it. So I made it a little bit darker for one. This is our code FF6B36, and let's copy it, Control C, and let's paste it over here, Control V. So we get something like this. You can play with these if you want to. Let's decrease this one 50 or maybe 25. So now we have something. Our scene is lit and it's looking okay, all right. So what we can do is add another light. Let's add a sun lamp, and let's place it somewhere we can easily access, something like this. And while this is still selected, let me disable this. While this is still selected, let's rotate it by pressing R twice. If we press R twice, it will allow us to move this, move any object in a 360 manner. So I wish to add some sort of reflection or light, like this light coming from this side, maybe, or maybe this side. Let's make it something like this, or maybe something like this. This is personal preference, whatever you wish to do. So let's put it like this, and now enable our HDRI. So you can see this is a very harsh light. Let me increase the brightness. So its now light is something like this, coming like this. So if we increase the angle, it will become softer and softer. You can see it has now completely merged with our background. And let's merge it like this and decrease the. So with it, it's very subtle. You can see, just like this. And I think we need to do one more thing. Select this and our sun lamp, and Control L, link, exclude, so that it won't cast its light on this particular part. And let's see what we are getting. We are just getting some light on this, actually too much light on this. Let's remove it too. Control L. Now what do we have? Yes, I think it's okay. And this one we can also remove it from the selection. Control L, link, exclude, 0. So now we have something like this. I'm just checking. You can see it's casting its light everywhere else, but except for this chair and this lamp. So yeah, I'm okay with it. And now let's look at how we can render this. So if we come over here at the render tab, this computer or transistor type thing, there we have this render engine tab where we have Evee by default, and cycles is the second one. Evee render is Blender's fastest way to render things. I think fastest would be Workbench, but let's say to keep things realistic, and still if you want to render something fast, Evee is the way to go. And the second one, this cycles engine, this is the real world thing, the most realistic or accurate something will look. It will look in cycles. Evee is basically the same, but with few bells and whistles that are missing from it. We will render both of these, one image from Evee and one from cycles. So let's look at Evee first. So as I said, Evee is also good, but there are certain things that are missing from it or disabled for obvious reasons, because we are aiming for speed. So you can see right now our glass looks a little weird, and I think if I enable ray tracing, it should look a little better. Now you can see if I disable it, it's now this light is falling on it, and it's also casting. It affects everything. Ray tracing will affect everything. You can see if I enable ray tracing, it's now these lights are more prominent, and this back wall is also getting some fall off from this light. So this now is casting shadow. So things become more and more better. So if you have ray tracing, enable it. And one more thing we need to add so that this looks better, come to this material tab, and at the very bottom under settings, we need to enable under render method ray traced transmission. Enable it, and now things will start looking even better. So yeah, this is one way. And let's come back here to rest of the settings. You can just leave them as be. Just you need to enable this ray tracing, and at material tab under settings, ray traced transmission. That's it, a ray traced transmission. So that will be all for this Evee render. And then we need to come to output. This is where we tell Blender what resolution we want. I will go for 1080p. You can, if you want a squarish image, you can go for 1080 by 1080 or 1000 by 1000. And then frame rate, if you're having an animation, this will determine the FPS of that animation. If we come down here, like pull this up, you can see we have a timeline. This is our timeline. Come over here, you can see this is timeline, clock icon. Ooh, it's saying 555. So this is our clock, and these are our frames. You can see from 1 to 250, right? So it also says here clock, and then 1 to 250. So if you have an animation, then this would be okay, but since we do not have any animation, so we can just put it to 1, and rest we leave them be. Just make sure this output setting, give it some different location, otherwise it would be rendered in your temporary folder. So next we have certain other settings like media type. We want an image, we do not wish to go for video or multi-layer EXR. Then either we can render it in PNG or JPEG. If you're adding transparency to your images, you can render it in RGBA PNG. PNG would be our best bet. I think Blender recently added AVIF. This is a new file format that is supposed to be in between JPEG and PNG. So since JPEG would be very small and PNG would be a little on the higher side file size, and AVIF is a mix of both of these, because JPEG cannot carry transparency, PNG can, and this one can also carry transparency. So we will go for JPEG because we have nothing like that in our scene. So this is it, and let's go for one test render. Let me put it to 1. Yeah, let's put our background to 1, sorry, this strength to 1, and let's merge it. Select right click, join down. Before you make a final render, it's always good to make sure that you come over here to this render tab and make sure you render one single image, render image, so that you know everything is working correctly. Since we also do not have a animation here, so you can render animation, it will render your start and end frames. So we only have start at 1 and end at 1, so we will only render 1 frame. So you can render animation, it will render to this spot wherever you chose it. So I will render my image. This one is in Evee, this is in slot 1. I will change the slot to slot 2 now. And now let's come back here to the render properties, and now let's switch to cycles. So now you can see everything changes when we switch to cycles, because I told you Evee was cycles younger brother with a few bells and whistles missing. This one has everything on by default. So, and let me enable denoiser for my viewport so that we get a clean image. And now you can see what we are getting, right? So let's check our settings quickly. So we have noise threshold, I don't think so we need to change it. Then we have max samples. Currently I have put these to 20. I think 20 is more than enough for our viewport. Then denoiser, if you have a GPU, enable it. It will denoise our image. Then we have render tab. Leave everything as it is. Denoiser is by default on for a render, final render. These max samples, these are the ones that we need to look at, because it takes a while to render even something simpler like this in cycles is very expensive on our resources, so it is advisable that we reduce the count to like 500 or maybe 300, maybe 100 for this one. So who knows, I think my lighting requires some more strength, so I will increase the strength to 2 for our HDRI. Let's go with 1.5. Yeah, I think 2 looks fine. So I will render this image now in cycles. So let me render it. So this image is now being rendered in the second slot, and now you can see what I was trying to say. Cycles takes time to render, and last image was done within 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds you can say, and this will take like minutes if I'm not wrong, and I will show you what both of these look like. But we have a very simple scene and we are just rendering one image. Think about if you have an animation and lots of things are going on, you have applied physics and there are particles and everywhere. You get the point, right? The more things there would be, higher the time would be. So sometimes it may not be best to go for the highest sample or cycles at all. So it took more than a minute for this single image to render on my PC, and that too at 1080p with 500 samples. You can imagine if you're rendering on 4K with 4000 samples or 1000 samples, it takes a lot. So it takes quite a lot of time. So sometimes you may prefer Evee. So now let's see what's the difference between Evee and our cycles. So this is what Evee is giving us. I think it looks good, and this is what cycles is giving us. This is with all the bells and whistles. You can see light is now behaving more accurately and it travels farther. You can see that, right? Over here we have these lights interacting with this. It's even touching this part. Right, over here we have nothing like this. It's just barely grazing it, and some light is over here, some is over here, otherwise rest is just muted, but it works. So whole point is now in the next video we will look at animating, and after that we will go for some light animation so that we can finish this scene.